All right, we're live on YouTube.
Okay.
Let's see if we can dial this in. Yeah, for some reason this is not, we don't need it now, but it's not reflecting onto there. Can you dial the number?
Yeah.
If I give it to you right now, yeah. All right, thanks.
Welcome and thank you for choosing freeconferencecall.com. You're helping people around the world communicate for free. Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. Access code or phone number you have dialed is incorrect. Please check your credentials and try again.
456.
You entered 4 5
Yeah.
6 8 5. Please
Oh.
re-enter your
Forgot the
access
nine.
code followed by the pound or hash sign.
Oh.
Please announce yourself.
Good,
Oh,
good.
Good. Beautiful day.
did we type in our
It didn't ask for
host
that.
number? It didn't ask for that. That's weird.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Is that Jack?
It's Victor and Andy.
Victor and Andy. Okay, great.
Hold on one second. I'm
Want to
wondering.
try it?
Yeah, let's retry that. Yeah. And you can type it in.
Welcome and thank you for
don't have to
choosing
listen to them, so you can just type it in right now.
freeconferencecall.com. You're helping people around the world communicate for free. Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign.
Okay. Nine.
Maybe
You
press
are the
star.
host.
Yeah, press star.
Star now. Please enter your PIN
4470.
followed by the pound or hash.
Sure.
If you do not know
4470.
your PIN, please enter.
44.
70. Pound.
Thank you. There are 5 participants in the conference. Please
All right.
announce yourself.
Victor is back. So we have, well, wait a couple minutes for more people to come on.
I don't know if you heard me or not. Jeff Ranger's here.
Yeah, Jeff, I heard you.
I know Mark.
James Rye.
Hi, Jane.
Hi.
This is Dana Mulder. I'm your neighbor, two doors down.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm calling for the tree planting committee.
Yep, you got it.
Okay. I want to donate a tree for Dean.
Yeah, we will. Hi, this is Victor. We'll get to that on the agenda, Jane. We have you
Okay.
on, yeah, we have you on the agenda.
I don't know how this works, so.
Yeah, this is a regular meeting. So what we'll do is we'll go through, we have certain agenda items, and then we'll get to yours probably in about 15 minutes.
Okay. Do I stay on the phone all that time?
Yeah, I would stay on the phone. Yeah. If you can put yourself.
If I lose you, I'd like to give you like some of the information because we're on our way to Pickford for Dean's burial.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Victor, this is Mark. Why don't we just call the meeting to order and take roll call, and then we can move her up. I wouldn't mind moving her up to the first item on the agenda.
And that's fine with me. All right, then we will do that. Okay. So I will do the roll call right now. Let's get this meeting started. It is o'clock exactly, 12 p.m. Dana Mulder,
Here.
Mark Gilbert,
Here.
Jeff Granger,
Here.
Cece Johnston,
Here.
and Sue Stewart.
Here.
Do we also have Ben Vealing, our arborist, online?
I'm here.
All right, great. And I know we have a couple members of the public as well that are watching and on the phone. So the agenda, you guys have all seen the agenda. We have about 6 items, but on the suggestion of Mark, we will move up the tree donation request by the police station from Jane Rye. We'll move that up to our first order of business. Dan Rye, if you just kind of want to talk about it, I've kind of included your email to me and your suggestion to the tree board, so they know a little bit about your idea. You want to potentially plant a tree in memory of the former chief, Dean Rye, who was even in the 80s or 90s. I'm not exactly sure when, was a police chief here, but and you want to consider donating a tree near the police station.
Yes. What I'd like to do is, Dean, we had a mountain ash in front of our house that Dean really liked to look at as far as the blooming and all of that. So I was wondering if we could get the mountain ash and have it planted somewhere close to the police department. And on the plaque, I would like in memory of Police Chief Dean Rye.
Okay, so let's take this that request. Let me just start with the tree board members for their comments, and then we'll circle back. So, C. Johnston, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a wonderful idea. Unfortunately, I never knew Chief Rye, but I think it would be a fine thing to plant a tree in his memory.
Okay, Mark Gilbert.
Again, I would like to thank her for the donation. I'm all in favor of it, and I think that would be a wonderful site for it.
Thank you, Jeff Granger.
I think it's great. We may have to do some looking around for the mountain ash. They aren't as popular as they once were.
Okay, Dana Mulder.
I think it's a wonderful idea too, and Dean was a great guy. I would maybe also think what he said, get Ben's thoughts on this. I know mountain ash have had their problems, but the one in your front yard looks really good, Jane. So maybe when they're done with the roll call, we could see if Ben has any thoughts about it.
Yep.
And, otherwise, I think one mountain ash at the police station is just fine and a great idea.
Thank you, Dana. Sue.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea too. I was, Lisa, Jane, your daughter Lisa, was one of my high school classmates. But anyway, yeah, it's a great idea, and I'm sure we can make it work out.
Okay, that's good. My only one thing that only had come up to me before was that we typically have not, when someone's donating a tree, put a specific, specific location. We've kind of, chose a location, but because I think we all agreed to the location right now, and because it was a former police employee here and a police chief, I think that's fine. I would probably want to just also bring it up at the council meeting on next Monday, just to say this was discussed at the tree board, and so the council's aware that a former police chief passed away, as well as that this is what we're doing to honor him. But those are just my thoughts there. Ben, what are your thoughts about the species?
Well, I have a few concerns, and so what? I mean, I like mountain ash. They're if we can find an American mountain ash, they're supposed to be in this forest, and they're a wonderful answer to diversity, which I know we're really trying to focus on. One of the reasons that they're not real popular right now is because there's a myriad of problems that we can have. Some of them are fungal diseases. Some of them are very common vertebrate pests like deer, mice. Sapsuckers are usually a really big problem with either the European or the American mountain ash. They do a lot of damage. I think that all of these things can be managed, but there's always it's really hard to have a sensitive plant in a public area that is memorializing somebody that's very important, because if the plant dies, then there's another feeling of loss. And, you know, my concern would be if we do this, maybe we commit to making sure that if this species is the required species, if this is, you know, Chief Wright's favorite tree, then maybe we make sure we commit to doing the maintenance that we need to do too. And make sure that that gets taken care of so that the plant can have the best chance of success. That's all I have to say. I mean, I think that the plant itself is a great plant. I just think that we may have a few other problems if it's in an unmaintained area, and that's one of the reasons, like Jeff's comment, that they're not real popular anymore, is because they can have some issues.
And Jane, where exactly did you want it to be planted?
I would like it to be planted close to the police department.
Okay, but you don't have a specific, you know, a specific spot, just somewhere near the police department.
Well, as close to the entry. Is there any room by the entry?
Well, from the looks of it, it's pretty much concrete on the entry from the western entrance, but there might be some spots on the south side or the north side, because the entrance right now is pretty much just sidewalk and pavement. But I think what we can do is we can just look for a spot, maybe, is what we'll do, Ben. We can look for the spot near, as close to the police station that you think would maybe maximize, you know, the best survival of the tree. Or maybe,
Correct, yeah.
or maybe a tree board member, both of you, doesn't matter, just, you know, someone to take a look at that knows where would be a ideal location for it. And then we can.
You know, if it's somewhere near the entrance, or I don't know where his office would have been, because I didn't know him back then.
Right.
But, you know, if it could be like by his office window or something.
Yeah, we will do our best to, I guess, to find a location. Then we'll bring it, I guess, Jane, what we'll do is we'll bring it back to you. You know, here's the location that we found, and see if it works.
I'd just like to add one more thing. This is Deanna Mulder, and I'm a landscape architect, work downstate, and neither of the big wholesale nurseries down there have it. So just know that we might have to go a little farther afield, but we can definitely do our best.
Okay. I know the tree out in front by us, we have, I don't know if they'd be large enough, but there's like saplings or whatever they call. Oh, wait, my son just said from who? He knows the guy, from Dave Hoffman, already talked to him about it.
Dan Hoffman?
Yeah.
Dave?
Okay, great. So he's got them?
He said, does he have them or order them, Bobby? Okay. I guess he can get us one.
Great. Okay.
Okay, well, then we'll have that, I'll, you know, Ben, maybe you also coordinate with, you know, Dave too, to see if he can, if he has it, or, you know, what the cost will be. But, you know, our typical tree donation is $500. So I think we can make it happen. So I don't see a problem there. So we'll just.
Okay.
David Hoffman is it? Is it David Hoffman on 31, or is it David Hoffman on Hoyt Street?
Is he on Hoyt or 31? Hoyt.
Right.
Okay, okay, so Tom Hoffman's son.
Yep.
I can send him a text right now.
Okay, thanks, Ben. So I think that, Jane, I know if you just want to submit that request, we'll, you know, and the donation, we'll start with it. So I think it'll work out.
Didn't I fill that? What do I have to do now? Because
So
I filled out that form, right? Do I just need to send in a check then?
yeah, you fill out the form, and then I can connect you with, you know, my assistant here or someone to work out the details. But you can just send in a check, $500 to the city of Harbor Springs.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and let him know when, if you guys text him or message him or anything, let him know that it's for Dean Rye and about Bob Mackey. That's my son.
All right, we will do that.
And it's spelled M-A-K-I. Do you want it?
Thank you, Jane. Any other comments from tree board members or the public or Ben?
Do we need a motion or anything, Victor?
No, we don't, for these, it's really just a discussion and then, cause yeah, we don't need a motion.
Okay, cool.
Any other comments?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
thanks, Jane.
Thanks.
And,
Bye-bye.
and you guys bring up a good point with the motion. So when we do get bylaws, and this will be another topic for another time, if we can get bylaws for the tree board, then we can figure out about motions and all that stuff. But right now we kind of a little, Dana, because you're new, but little ad hoc, just the committee serves to kind of help the city staff, make good sound decisions. So, but one day
Yes, that's good.
we'll get bylaws. All right.
Okay,
Going,
can I hang up now?
yes, you can, Jane.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Going on, I didn't put this on the agenda, but let's just get to it really quick. The minutes from, I think we have 2 previous minutes to approve. The first one is from, was it February, I believe?
February 21.
Yeah, February 21st. So can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve minutes from the last meeting.
Okay. Dana Mulder, is there a second?
I will second.
Sue seconds? Or was it Cece?
That was Jeff.
It was Jeff, all right. I'll just take a roll call really quick to get eyes. Cece Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Gilbert,
Yes.
Jeff Granger,
Yes.
Dana Mulder,
Yes.
and Sue Stewart.
Yes.
Okay. Approved, minutes approved. And then the second set of minutes were from April 21st. Get a motion in a second?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from that meeting.
Dana motions in a second?
I will second it.
Was that Cece?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I'll do a quick roll call. Dana Mulder,
Yes.
Cece Johnston,
Yes.
Sue Stewart,
Yes.
Jeff Granger,
Yes.
and Mark Gilbert.
Yes.
Okay. Minutes approved. All right. So we can go on to the first topic under C, old business, the downtown tree grate project update. I know Dana Mulder's there to kind of talk about that, but so is Ben. And is Margot, are you online?
I'm online, yes.
Okay, maybe we'll start, Margot, since you're coordinating, maybe you can just give a little update. I know we put out that RFP, and that's in the packet. So if you just want to give a little brief summary of what's happened since our last tree board meeting a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so yes, I will. I have met quite a bit with Joe O'Neill, and I know after the last tree board meeting, the tree board advised recommending 9 species that would be, acceptable for the downtown area. So the way we put that on the request for bid is listing all 9. I know some of the landscape companies and nurseries have already said some might not be available. So that was our thinking with doing that. And, but we did leave it open for all 9 species at this point. We also, after Joe and Ben and I looked at the trees downtown, and I know Dana had the same recommendation. We are moving forward that all the trees be replaced, and I think that's in line with the last tree board meeting, that everybody felt that may be the most cost-effective, solution for the Main Street with warranties and removal. But we're putting a stipulation that anything under 3-inch caliper could be relocated somewhere else into the city. So that is also a line item on the board under the bid request. And then the bid proposal will be going out here. The request for the bid is, let me grab that. It's going to be posted publicly here at the end of the month. We did push that back a little bit just because of the closure in the state, that we didn't want to have to hold the public meetings or anything like that with, while we're still under, stay-at-home orders. So there'll be a pre-bid meeting on June 8th. The advertised for the bid did go out on the 12th and 13th of May. We have the bid opening on the 10th, and then hopefully the council will vote on the 15th, and the bid will be awarded on the 16th. Does anyone have any questions about any of the added-on line items that have been included in the bid for proposal, the request for bid?
Any questions from any tree board members about this? It was in your packet.
They found a place to heal the trees that are trying to salvage, keep them alive until we can find another place to plant them.
Or I wonder if decide today where they go. Or
Yeah, we have not come up with something. That was something that was going to be discussed with the tree board, and also with city. I know Victor and I had a little discussion, but we did not put any specific stipulation into the request for bid as to where they're going.
So we have a couple weeks to figure that out, though, is that correct? A few weeks?
Yeah, well, we have till the commencing of the construction isn't going to happen until September 14th. So we have quite a while until the trees are actually removed.
Yeah, that's correct. So that's a good question, Jeff, but we do have a time to coordinate and figure out, for the trees that are going to be salvaged, where we're going to let them heal and eventually transplant them. So we can have those discussions later as a tree board as well.
Hey guys, Ben here. Can I insert something here real quick?
Please do.
The Pepper Street well house, that has irrigation, and they originally set that up to grow. They were trying to grow Christmas trees for the city Christmas tree, but that project was abandoned probably 15 years ago. That might be a good place to heal them in where it's out of the way and there's water availability if we need to water them. But they could also be balled and burlap and then set above the ground, and then just place soil on the sides of the root balls with a drip irrigation, and that'll keep them at least viable for a couple of weeks, if not months.
That's a great idea.
Yes, that is. Margot, can you convey that, I guess, whenever we get bids from contractors, or we can figure that out?
Yeah, and I did want to add in on the request for the bid proposal, and I know Ben can answer your questions as far as the planting detail and all of that, as far as what specifically is going to happen with the planting and the removal. As I know that was on his recommendation.
Right.
I have a question for Margot and Victor. We had talked about this earlier on in the process. Did we come up with a mechanism for how Mossberg can be billed for the ones that he took out? Or are we saying now that they would have come out anyways, we don't need to?
No, so for Mossberg's project, they have to, for the trees that were taken out because of their project, they have to replace those trees anyway. So they'll be responsible either financially, whether it's, I don't know how much we charge them, it's in the agreement, but they're responsible for replacing the trees that were removed. So whether that's going to be, they have to plant 2 trees, or now because we're choosing trees that they're going to have to pay us financially, we can talk about that later. But I would assume right now, we would probably want our contractor, not to inject Mossberg's, just planting 2 or 3 trees that he wants, or that were of like kind, that we just go with our project here and then go back to Mossberg and say, we're doing this, if, you can compensate us for the value of the trees and the planting.
Okay, great.
Any other questions or thoughts from Margot on this? All right, hearing none, I guess, Margot, thanks for all your work, Ben and Dana too. I know you guys worked with Benchmark and with each other a lot, so appreciate this. It just took a while to get this together, but I think it's finally going somewhere. So,
Yeah, I appreciate everyone's help coming into this and with the directive to get to a solution for the trees. That was great, but since I have no knowledge and, experience or expertise with trees and all of that, I really appreciate everybody's help on that. So, thank you.
thank you all. Thanks, Margot. All right, going on to old business number 2. This one should be quick. I mean, it's still kind of up in the air. This is regarding Mr. Ronald Fennick's Main Street tree donation. So I talked to him about a week and a half ago on the phone. Of course, I wanted to see if he was still interested in, going through with the donation because of the whole COVID-19 situation and also with the shutdown. So he said he's still interested in it. And the last we talked, he said he was going to talk to a couple of the nurseries to see if they can, get a better deal on the trees, because now that the high school, students wouldn't be able to help us, plant the trees because either they'd be too big or now because school is shut out. So we'd have to find either more volunteers or we'd have to have a professional, plant these larger trees, which just would be, too much for most volunteers. So he wanted to do a little bit talking with some of the nurseries to see if they would be willing to even donate some. I haven't heard back from him since last week about that. My plan was to call him yesterday or today. I just didn't get around to it. But as far as I know, he wanted to get them in as soon as possible. I told him it probably won't be likely this spring and summer because of all the other things we have going on with the delays, but that it would still be possible for this year sometime, maybe the fall. But he's excited. He still wants to do it. I just haven't heard back on his conversations. So I don't know, Ben, if you've heard anything in addition from any of the nurseries. I know last time we talked that we might be able to get them to put on hold or hold some of their Dutch elm trees.
Well, Princeton elm is a variety I would prefer.
Oh, sorry, Princeton elm. Yeah, sorry.
And so Dutch elm is a disease.
Yeah, I know. I misspoke.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I'm just rattling your cage a little bit. I haven't heard back yet what bulk numbers they have. Dana, are you in front of a computer right now?
I am.
Can you pull up Cluck's or Christian's inventory?
Just take one step here.
Because they usually have a bunch.
Yeah, and Malark is another one that we use a lot too. So let's see.
Sometimes Cluck's will have it too, but they're all over the place.
Well, Christensen's does deliveries up here too, which is good.
Well, while Dan is doing that, is there any other comments about it from Jeff, Marks, CC, or Sue about the update? Still kind of waiting just to hear back from him.
I would also, this is Ben, I would also say that if we can't find Princeton, New Harmony, or Valley Forge elms would be, similar or maybe even more desirable.
And what are your thoughts on accolade, Ben?
Weak wooded, fast growing. So,
Okay.
but I mean, it's a Siberian elm, right? It's bred to look like an American elm, and if it's in an open area, I mean, it's just fine. But it has the characteristics of those small twigs that are kind of messy and copious
Okay,
amounts.
we don't have to worry about it. That turns out. So Christensen's has 71 2-inch and 37 2.5.
All right.
That's what I figured.
So I will call, what I'll do is I'll follow up with Mr. Fennick again, just to say, there's plenty available. I know he was trying to get, because he wanted to fit the maximum number in, I guess, a lower price, obviously, because he wants to put in, somewhere between 15 and 20 trees and also potentially go down Traverse Street with some trees as well, which we haven't gotten to the details yet about that one. But so I know he's looking at putting a lot of trees in. So I get it. He's going to be donating a lot of money. So he wanted to look into it, but I'll call him and relay this information to him.
Can I insert a question here?
Yep.
And I think Ben might also have input on this. Are we trying to maybe offer some suggestions on spacing? Because we don't want to put in elm trees like 15 feet on center, you know what I mean? Not good for the trees and, not good for the sidewalks and everything else. Like, I think we need to, with whatever the tree it is, have, some nod towards the mature size and what's gonna look right.
So,
Ben, thoughts?
A couple of thoughts. I mean, in forest spacing, 15 feet on center is possible. I would follow the discipline that you're indicating, which is that when we spec a tree, we should spec a tree for a size at which we feel it's going to be mature, and it's going to be really hard on the road and or the sidewalk if we let them get to be, really big, and if they're that close together. Yeah, I mean, so
It looks funky too. Like, I think, a nice spacing for a huge tree like that might be more like 25 feet.
yeah,
And I feel like that's something that we could, have an opinion on, and Ben and I could do a little more research on, to Justice, spacing from his association, from the Nurse Humans Association. We want the trees to be healthy, one, and, I think they could also block views, and I don't know, I think we would have a lot of reasons for not wanting them to go in that close.
we've already had an indication that the church may not want trees that close together also.
and that's true, Ben, and we've reached out to the church several times through different people, and they've not responded on this topic whatsoever. So I've kind of just given up on trying to get their opinion on what their opinion would be on the planting. So at this point, it's been ongoing for several months. We've been having this discussion about the type of trees and how many we're going to have there. Ben has already walked looked at that site and saw where the potential planting locations are. I've walked the site with Mr. Fennick. And really the last piece of the puzzle was just figuring out which species of tree is going to go there. And that was really the Prince Elm. And is it Princeton Elm or Prince Elm? Princeton Elm. Yeah. So that was the last bit. And then, finalizing exactly how many trees or how much money Mr. Fennick would donate. So I really think that's where we're at. And I don't know I know, Danny, you came in this a little late. I mean, you're new to the tree board, but I think that's where we're at. And Ben, correct me if I'm wrong on any of that.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So
I think that with the purview of the tree board, though, to have a little bit of oversight over spacing. I mean, it's one to say species, but I think spacing can be as important.
no, and I agree. I just think we made our decision based on Ben's advice on our tree specs, right, Ben? Like, you went out there, you basically you gave us a map of the locations of where the trees could be planted. I mean, if that
Yeah, we're looking at what the spacing has been historically with trees that are there, including some of the larger maples. So what had been taken out. I mean, we're identifying planting sites, and so the site is a permanent thing, not its occupant.
right.
If that makes any sense.
That makes sense. So do you know what the spacing is?
I don't. Not off the top of my head. I'm actually sitting in the parking lot at City Hall. I could go down and look.
Okay, well, maybe, that's something to talk more about with the tree plan. And then if you do want to look that up, maybe just so we kind of have an idea where we're headed.
Yeah, first let me go to see if there's any other comments from tree board members. Mark Gilbert?
Well, I just think our guiding principle, no matter what tree you put in or where you put it in, is put the right tree in the right place. And I think spacing and all of that just enters into it. And I would hope that would be our recommendations would be the ones that we go with.
Thanks, Mark. Jeff, any comments?
I agree. 15 feet is way too close. That 25 would be a better distance for that size tree.
Thank you, Cece.
No comments.
And Sue?
I'm happy that we're still working with Mr. Fennick, and I look forward to seeing this all come together.
Okay, good. Thanks, guys. So Ben, if you could just do a little more research on that one about the spacing and et cetera, but I'll try to get in touch with Mr. Fennick again and see where we're at.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments or questions from public or anyone on the tree board? All right, hearing none, let's go on to new business D1, item 1. This is regarding, so this, Nancy Holton, it's a resident, I believe a part-time resident here, I'm not exactly sure, but she had a request to see if it was possible to donate a smaller gift amount, the $500 requested in the tree program in memory of someone. Nancy, are you on the line? No, she's not on the line. I did give her the info for this meeting. But so I guess, I mean, are we willing to, and how would that look like if we were willing to accept, you know, I guess money less than $500 for a tree donation? I mean, the whole purpose, the reason we have $500 is because that's what theoretically it takes to purchase, plant, and sustain one healthy tree for a few years, right? That's how much we estimate it would cost. You know, so if we said, you know, we can accept $250, what would they get in return for that? So I just want to, you know, give it to everyone for their thoughts on that. Mark Gilbert, you want to start?
Well, I hate to turn down any money for trees. Again, you can get potted trees at about 1.5 to 2 inch caliber for less than that, but I think the $500 was to make it a guarantee by having the landscape planted. So again, I'd like to accept any money that people are willing to allow.
Thanks, Mark. Jeff?
Well, I remember us talking about this a while back, that, like Mark said, we don't want to turn down any money. And I had thought, maybe I just dropped this, but I thought we were going to accept any and all monies and put them into a fund that would, you know, as it grew, then we would plant a tree.
Okay.
If not, that's an idea.
Thanks, Jeff. And my one reaction to that is I'm wondering, you know, right now we put people's names in memory of someone on a little plaque, you know, but, you know, one of the thoughts I was thinking about, you know, if two people like donate separately $250, then they would all share the same plaque space, even though that's much harder to get that much more font in a plaque space on our little tree, our little plaque inside City Hall here. But that was just a thought. Sue, your comments and thoughts?
Yeah, you know, if we want to help people who have someone that they want to memorialize and they don't feel that they are financially able to donate the full $500, then having, I don't know, a set of willing matchers, people who, you know, if this was somebody who I was friends with who wanted to donate less than $500 because they couldn't afford the full amount and they still wanted to dedicate the tree to someone, I would suggest to them that they recruit some more people to help them get up to that $500 amount. And if they feel like they don't have people they can recruit, they could bring it to the tree board and we might have a group of people who are willing to match such donations.
Thank you for that idea.
I don't want to set up a whole huge hierarchy or complicated system to do this, and it's not much different from what Jeff has said, that it should be possible to use gifts that are less than a full $500 dedicated to X.
Thank you, Sue. Those are good comments. Cece?
Yeah, I like Sue's comments. I think that's a good idea.
Thank you, Cece. Dana?
And so we're thinking they want a specific tree. They wouldn't want to just put money into a fund.
You know, I wasn't really exactly clear in exactly how she would want to do it from Nancy's perspective. You know, usually when we get a request for to donate a tree, you know, usually the tree board discusses the species and location. You know, it's some with some exceptions, you know, the tree board will allow an individual, like in the case with Jane Rye, to, you know, because it was a former employee, for the tree by the police station, or Mr. Fennick because he's potentially donated $5,000 or more of trees. But generally, when someone donates a tree, the tree board discusses the species and location. So it's really just, you know, they get their name on a plaque in memory of someone donated by, you know, X, Y, Z, and then we decide on a tree, but no tree is assigned. You know, you can't go up to that tree and see this tree is planted in memory of, you know, Mr. Rye. Except for Mr. Rye, it will be, because it'd be at the police station. But for Mrs. Holton, you know, we don't usually do that, Dana.
So where are the plaques located then?
There's a plaque. So there's one plaque in the lobby of City Hall that has like these leaves on it. There's about maybe like 30 or 40 leaves, and about half of them or so are occupied with people's names in memory of, you know, this person donated by this person.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You got any
Yeah,
other thoughts, Dana?
I think Sue had a great idea too. I don't know how we would find those matching people though, the logistics of it.
You know, and we could either put that on Nancy, or we could put that on the tree board or staff to, you know, put something on, you know, social media or the website seeking a matching thing, or we could have a separate plaque for under 250, you know, but, you know, we'd have to figure out the details for that as well.
Look, you know, you've seen donation campaigns where, let's see, you could have somebody at the sapling level, somebody at the, you know, street tree level, somebody at the forest level. You know, we could, I don't know if those are good examples, but, you know, it seems like most donation programs have something like that.
That's
Like
another possibility, yeah.
And that way you're not, you know, I think the Humane Society does something like that, and maybe we need to give a little thought to what the categories would be. But then we don't have to say exact amounts on what people gave. We could just say, you know, up to 250 is this level, 250 and 500 is this level. And then like FedEx would be the highest level, 5,000, you know.
I mean, before I go back to the rest of the tree board members, Ben, do you have any thoughts?
Not a lot. You know,
Okay.
anything I think that brings in, that'll bring more donations, even if it's smaller, I think would be great. You know, one thing I was thinking is that, you know, we as a company have a wholesale license. We can buy stuff from wholesalers. If we can find things like the high school students in the future that are willing to donate time, we might be able to reduce the cost of certain gifts. You know, somebody says, I don't have 5, but I've got 300, that could be an entire tree. I mean, it doesn't have to be part of one. So
Thanks,
yeah,
Ben.
anything we can do to bring money. Yep.
So basically, I've heard two big, you know, ideas. One is from Sue and kind of Jeff here is about, you know, finding a way for, if someone donates less than the 500 to create a bank or get a match of money to reach that 500 level. And then from Dana about different tiers of tree donations and, you know, sapling level, full tree level, whatever that may be. So let me just circle back to Mark and see what we think.
I think they're all good ideas. To explore. I'm just thinking of another item that's on the agenda where there's a possible grant that I'm willing to write where we need to match it up to $1,500. That particular woman or person could donate as part of that match and help us in that respect.
Thank you, Mark. Jeff?
What if we were just to maintain a slush fund of sort instead of, you know, spending every dollar we get into trees, hanging on to some of that for situations like this?
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying there. I guess that makes sense. The only thing I could see with that is that, you know, then some people are donating, you know, $500 because that's the level we've established that you would get your name on a plaque, you know, and then if they would have known, well, you know, I could have just donated $200. I mean, I don't think most people are like that, but
Yeah, well, have some stipulations.
Yeah. Cece?
I think it's really hard to decide.
Yeah.
Because it just, somehow to me, it doesn't really seem right to be able to put your name on a plaque if somebody else has paid a lot of the money.
I
The more
agree.
I think about it.
Yeah. It's a good point. Sue, further thoughts?
You know, the way the system is set up right now, where there's a plaque with leaves on it, was a first attempt at getting people away from the idea that they were donating a tree and that there was a tree that had a nameplate on it that they could go to. And it's worth, you know, as Dana points out, rethinking how we set up the recognition system around donations to the tree fund. But there's no reason that $500 is the magic amount that people should give to the tree fund. It's not necessary for everybody to give only the amount that gets us a whole tree. It's just that that's where we started because we had people trying to do this, I want to give a whole tree thing. So it's worth continuing to think about how we do that for future.
Thanks, Sue. And Dana?
I think they're all good ideas. There's a lot of different ideas, so I don't know how we narrow things down.
Well, you know, I think, Dana, I think your idea,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think your idea of the tier system kind of might be able to solve all the different issues where, you know, you get different levels. So those people who donate $500, they will get, you know, the typical, you know, best that we can get for $500 is what we plant. And then if someone has a different sapling level at 250, then that's what they get, that's what they will get. And maybe if someone has more, you know, I think we can maybe work on, maybe let's think about it. I'll think about it here as staff, but maybe, you know, Dan too, if you want to think about, you know, what a tier system could look like as well. Maybe we think about that and we get at our next tree board meeting, we have some ideas and solutions on this. In the meantime, I'll get back to Nancy and say, it is possible to donate a smaller gift than $500. And then we'll find a way to fit that in, whether how we fit, you know, honoring somebody or remembering someone and how we fit that on a plaque or something. Those details will still be to come.
Yeah, so we've got a policy of we'll accept any amount of money and then we'll figure out how to recognize it.
Yeah. Because obviously, you know, I'm thinking about the same thing with Mr. Fennick. You know, he's going to get just one leaf on a board too, but he's donating $5,000 potentially if he does of trees. So it's, you know, I'm not to say like, you know, the biggest donor always should get more recognition, but you know, that's a substantial donation and it will transform our street substantially there. So I think it might be worthwhile to, you know, we'll accept anything, but here, let's have a different system for how we recognize and et cetera.
If I could just make one more suggestion is once we figure that out, it might be worth a little article in the paper by Kate Bassett saying that we're instituting a new tree giving program in the city. And we're happy to take, you know, donations. Here's the levels that you can donate at, and here's where to send it.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about as a tree board actually promoting this as much as possible with our website and on the newspaper. So I think that would be a good idea to have Kate potentially do an article.
And on the same note, a final comment here. When we get Mr. Fennick's projects underway, I hope that we also have some press attention around that. That's really what should happen for more money is for us to give him recognition and also use it as a way to encourage other people who might be like-minded to come to us and work with us because we can work things like this out.
Yes, you're right, Sue. Any other comments?
Yeah, it's Cece.
Hi, Cece.
I'm thinking, what if we had a plaque that if somebody donated, we would just say they donated to the tree fund. And the other one would be they donate a tree and they could dedicate it to somebody. But that would still be $500. But the other ones would just be honor them for donating to the tree fund.
That might be a separate, that separate plaque idea is a good idea, I think, as well. So I think we can, sorry, Jeff, you had a comment?
I'm sorry, this is Mark, was interrupting.
Oh, sorry.
I think CC has a good idea. I mean, we could just name the plaque, Friends of Harbor Spring Trees or something, and then if you donate less than $500, your name goes on that.
That's a good possibility as well. So I think we can look at both of these suggestions here and come up with a couple of different plans, ideas for the next tree board meeting, and then just let's stick with one because we don't want to have several different, things. I think, Sue and Jeff a little bit earlier were about, we just want to make it as simple and user friendly and understandable as possible. So we'll come up with a system, a couple ideas, throw them back out at you at the next tree board meeting, and then also run it by council so they can get the final approval on it. Does that sound good, guys?
Yeah.
All right.
I've had one other problem, one other question that maybe you could answer.
Yeah, Mark.
When people donate $500 for a tree and that's bid out, do some of the bids come in under $500? And if so, what happens to that money that is not part of that particular planting?
And I'm not sure exactly the answer to that question because I don't think since I've been here, we've actually, we've received a couple donations, but haven't planted the trees yet. So those are things that we have to talk about still. And Andy, am I correct that we received a couple donations last year?
We have, and I know they're looking at getting a separate line item in the budget just for donations and just to keep metrics of that fund.
Yeah, so I don't think we've exactly, measured it in the past of how much of that money we've spent. So and that's part of the goal is to try to keep better track going forward of how we spend this.
Yeah, I would think so. If it comes in under, that money can go into a designated tree fund for
right
matching gifts.
Absolutely. I think any leftover money should go into a tree fund. And that's something we're kind of working on also with our tree plan. But thanks, Mark. All right, hearing no other comments there. Let's move on to item D3, Zoll Street tree planting application. Valerie Hosier, who lives on the here on Zoll and Main Street, essentially the corner. She wants to add 3 or 4 more crabapple trees. I think it's crabapple trees on Zoll Street. She came, I think it was a couple years ago or something, or the year before, to plant, and had planted some already on Main and one on Zoll, but now with the construction finished, she wanted to plant some more. Valerie, are you online? No, I don't think she joined us for this one, so yeah, I just wanted to get your guys' feedback. I don't know if when we guys talked about this last, but let's just start. Sue, any thoughts?
I'm sorry, about planting crab trees?
Yeah, these crab trees that Valerie Hosier is asking to plant on Zoll Street.
I think I will defer to Jeff and Ben on this because I think there's some history with crab trees on Zoll Street, and tying in with what's there is probably more important visually than anything else. So as far as my personal opinion, I don't see any reason not to. But
okay, Jeff, then we'll go to you next.
Victor, where does she intend to plant these? Just along the part of Zoll Street that she owns right away on?
Oh, so in the packet, it's like on page 64. She has a drawing there, and it is all the trees where she has borders that right away. Yes. So it would be on the west side of Zoll Street along her home in the right of way, though.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, are you guys still spraying those?
We haven't this year, but I think we're supposed to.
Okay, just curious.
So yeah, I mean, we've got a couple weeks that we can. We've got maybe one more week before blossoms start to push out. We can use the reduced oils for mites and and some of the other things like tent caterpillars, but pretty soon here, we're going to start thinking about fungicides for scab, and also if we have anything with copper to come back on the chances of things like fire blight.
Just Mike, you want to put. It looks like he wants to put 4 more in between her driveway and Main Street. If I'm looking at this drawing right.
Yep, you are. Yep.
That's a little
My
tight.
comment is that looks awfully close to Main Street, and we might want to check with Joe O'Neill on that sightline triangle.
It's for the number if you want to put in, yeah, Dan, you're right, it is tight.
Okay, Jeff. Dana, can you go finish? You had some comments there.
Yeah, so, in talking with Joe O'Neill as part of the Tree Grate project, he said that, as an engineer and, civil engineer and, safety things related to streets, that you do try and maintain a site triangle whereby you measure from the corner of one road back, I don't know if it's 20 feet, in the corner of another road back 20 feet, or maybe it's 30 feet. But then the triangle that you draw between those 2 points, there should not be anything obstructing views of traffic. So that is a stop sign, so people are going to be pulling out into traffic. So she's already got that picket fence there, so maybe, it looks like the trees are back of the picket fence, so maybe it's not an issue, but maybe somebody ought to look at it first.
I mean,
I'd run it by Chief Kyle too. How about Chief Kyle?
yeah, I'd rather run it by Chief Knight. Yeah, I'll do that. But first, I guess, yeah, those are good points. Thanks, Dana. Sue? Did I already call on you, Sue? Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, sorry. Cece?
It's after Kyle says what the setback should be, that would be good.
Okay. Thanks, Cece. And Ben, you have any further thoughts?
I would ask the engineer about what his thoughts are first, then I would ask, Chief Knight after that, just because there are standards that Joe should be adhering to that maybe Chief Knight is not aware of.
Right.
And then I would temper our density by the placement that's already there if we're worried about uniformity. I.e., if we have to lose one tree on the corner, then we take that tree out instead of just shifting everything and putting it closer together. Because we start to run out of space as we come, more to the south. And I don't mind having, them all in one place. It makes it a lot easier to control, things like scab if we're spraying them all in one place. But yeah, maybe we start to cut back on crab apples in our inventory also.
Okay. Thank you, Ben.
Victor, one more question. Can we suggest to her that she maintain the same spacing as the rest of the trees on Dole? I think maybe that's what Ben was getting at.
Yeah.
So yeah, the ones that are south of her property, yeah, we can do that. So what I'll do then is I'll touch base with Joe really quickly and Chief Knight, and then I don't know. I don't think there's a need to come back to the tree board for this. I'll get their opinions, and then I'll send you guys an email with their thoughts and I'll Ben as well. And then as long as we maintain that triangle site and proper spacing, she'll either go with planting 3 or 4. But you guys are okay with the crabapple species to maintain consistency, and I think that's the main thing for right now.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments from the public or anyone, the tree board members? All right. So that's all I have. And the next item is the neighborhood tree planting program. I will pass it off to Mark. But before we do that, I just want to say I didn't submit any section on the tree plan here. I will wait till the June meeting. We just had a packed agenda here, but I am still working on the tree plan. So we'll figure that out next meeting. But all right. And I know the reason I bring this up is because I know we talked about at one of our previous tree board meetings about grants and planting programs, and it was good that Mark brought this up. So Mark, if you want to kind of just take it over here.
Yeah, I don't know whether anybody waded through all 74 pages towards the end. Just the communication I had with Melanie Jones from Relief, Michigan. I don't know whether anyone is familiar with that organization, but if not, you might want to get on their website. They assist communities in planting trees and trying to get communities to have volunteers get involved in the process. They will match $1,500, so we could so a total of $3,000. And with that, they will come and take and meet with us and discuss types of trees and so forth. I asked her if for $3,000 what size trees they put in, and they put in 1.5 to 2 inch caliper trees, and they either come containerized or burlap. They're about 6 to 10 feet tall. So with that $3,000, with us contributing $1,500, them matching it with $1,500, there's also a $25 shipping charge for each tree, so that'd be an additional $500 for us. So the total of $3,500. We could get 15 to 20 trees depending on size and species. These trees are not guaranteed. They'll be planted by volunteers, as we did 2 falls ago. But if people are interested, I'm willing to follow up on this grant. Again, I don't think we need to worry about right now. We could decide later where we want to put these trees. I would sort of like to not only put some in public places where you might need to, but try to get out into the neighborhoods a little bit and have people volunteer to adopt a tree and plant it on the extension of their property.
Thanks, Mark. That's really helpful. I think that'd be great. You know, we do have, from what I gather, it's $3,000 and it's we have to match 50%. Correct?
That's right. Our total cost, if we got 20 trees, would be $2,000.
Okay.
And then they would match $1,500. So.
Okay.
Yep.
So, we have that $15,000, in our, at least $15,000 in our account based on what we received from the settlement. So I think that's a great idea. I have no problem with you moving forward, but let's just get the other comments. Sue?
Sorry. Yeah, I think Relief Michigan's a great organization, and I think it'd be great for us to work with them. The part, and I did read the entire packet, Mark. The part that caught me is the idea of volunteers and school kids, and it's like, no, we can't. I mean, as a short-term thing, it's hard to think about that, but trusting that the world will be normal again, terrific.
Thanks, Sue. Jeff, any thoughts?
More money.
Thanks, Cece.
Yeah, I think it's like a good idea.
Thank you. And Anna?
I think it's a great idea too. Just one thought, whether we might want to have like a little planting detail to give them so they're not planting it like a foot below grade or whatever. And Ben, you can respond to that too.
Thanks, Dana. Ben?
Yeah, first I'd like to say Relief Michigan has always been close to my heart. It's a great organization. I would be in full support of any professionals that donate their time or work as subcontractors with Relief. A lot of them are working at some of the big arboriculture companies downstate. So they have a pretty good understanding. I don't have a problem with what Dana is saying. I think that's a good idea. We can have a conversation. And, I'd be willing to, I've got a bunch of respirators and I can dig out some masks too if we need to get this thing done sooner. But I like what Sue said. So let's be safe and we'll plant some trees maybe later.
Ben, Melissa told me that they they've actually moved all of their spring plantings to the fall.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this might be this fall or possibly next spring. And again, I think we can social in getting volunteers to help out.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to be in that one.
All right. Well, thanks, Mark. So I guess you got it. You know, we really appreciate you moving forward with this, and I think, yeah, please keep on moving forward.
Okay, will do.
Thanks. Any other comments from board members or the public about this?
No, I appreciate it too. I think it's really good. I didn't know about it.
Yeah, thanks. It's not on the agenda, but I just want to, if anyone has any other comments that or business that hasn't been discussed today, just give you an opportunity. Sue? No. Dana?
I do actually. I'd like to just give a little quick update on another tree-related project that the DDA is hoping to get going on. We haven't met with council or anything like that, and we haven't even met as a group to formalize anything. But we're trying to, with the pandemic and all that, see what we can do to make our downtown just as safe as can be. And also at the same time, do what we can to help our businesses and restaurants remain viable. And so one of the main concepts is what can we do to move more opportunities for dining and gathering outside. And we've gone through a number of possibilities, including using a couple parking spaces for a little dining deck for restaurants, and that's been eliminated. It's just too worrisome with cars zipping by. And we're also looking at maybe allowing the restaurants to expand in front of stores, neighboring stores. That's got to be worked out with the store owners. We've looked at possibly closing streets, and to do it as a full-time thing, we have such a small downtown with one-way streets that's really not viable. So we're still talking a little bit about whether we might close, let's just say for an example, State Street south of Main, Friday and Saturday night, and bring tables in for dining opportunities outside. Could also be municipal lot. We looked at Merchants Walkway, which is behind the stores on Main Street on the south side. But it's very narrow, so I don't think this is the opportunity to get going on that. We looked at allowing restaurants to operate satellite locations in the park, but being a public space, it doesn't seem right to allow private operation in public spaces. So what we've come down to is the best opportunities are going to be the Marina Park and Zorin Park. And so then the next thing that we've been looking at is what can we do to increase seating, first of all. And the city has on order 5 new of the green metal picnic tables. That's correct, I think, Victor?
We haven't ordered them yet. We were going to discuss all these issues at council on Monday before we make place an order, but that's what we're looking at.
Yep, and then we have a new Parks and Rec director, which I guess you guys all know about. Denny McDermott.
Yeah, Denny McDermott.
And I think he's even gone forward to identify that we really could use 10 right off the bat. So 5 are in the budget. So one thing that we're hoping to talk to the council about Monday night is private fundraising to try and get money to add more tables. So then some kind of related things to that are what do we need to do to bring some shade? Because that Marina Park is just blistering in the summer, as you guys all know. So things that we've looked at so far are umbrellas for the picnic tables. That would be super flexible. You can move the tables around. It's not like a long-term commitment or anything. I really like the idea of adding trees to that park. And actually, when we were talking briefly about what to do with the trees coming out of Main Street, I think that would be wonderful. I mean, we could identify where to put them, and they could just go straight in the hole, straight up, without any, stop in between kind of thing. I was planning to just do a sketch of how that might work, where we do leave options open for the future. Like when we do bring in tents for the beer festival or the wine festival or whatever else. Denny and I had also identified this too as, another opportunity for shade might be a shade structure. Like you guys may have seen they look like sails kind of. So they're supported by, tall posts. We've identified that in looking at all these options, we have to be sure that, I guess we provide opportunities for shade, also for sun, not to totally preclude ideas for down the road, and then also not to block view. So if we did do trees, they would be shade trees that we could limb up as they got bigger. So when you're standing or sitting, you can see under them perfectly. And if you go on Google and Google waterfront parks, you see a lot of waterfront parks with that, where the view to the water is kind of framed under the trunks of the canopy trees. So I think that in that regard, we would not look at smaller trees where the canopy might be at eye level. Let's see. I think that's the highlight of all of it. I'm going to work on a couple of sketches that just to kind of visuals for council on what these options might mean.
Yeah, Dana, and I did receive your email, and I've included that in the council's packet. And I also, there's another point of discussion at the council meeting. We have a park design opportunity, a free park design opportunity that we could bring that up. But my one caution about doing anything at the Marina Park that might be permanent, like trees, is that the Harbor Master building is something that the Harbor Commission and City has been working at to rebuild. And part of that would include complete redesign of the green space in the parking lot, which would mean either next year or 3 years or whenever they finally approve the funds for the Harbor Master building, that would have to be completely redone. So that's just something that we need to keep in mind, that green space has been a topic of conversation for several years, and the council really hasn't gotten into the weeds of what they would want to do there yet, based on the fact that the Harbor Master building was supposed to have gone forward, but the council did reject the grant award. So we have to look at different options now. So
yeah,
that's,
so some portion might be sort of like a dashed area, like future use. But I think, things what was wanted to be done, in that green space, then sort of kick the can down the road for a while. And now we have an opportunity to be proactive and maybe come up with a really nice model for, how the space could be redeployed for the future.
no, I think that's a good idea. I just, like I said, I think a lot of this depends also on the Harbor Master building, whether it's going to go or not. Because if the Harbor Master building is going in, that green space is not going to be there. It's going to be shifted completely somewhere else. So what we do with that green space is essentially dependent on whether we go ahead with the Harbor Master building. And that's the problem. I don't think it's that we've been kicking the can, it's that we just haven't confirmed to building the Harbor Master building yet.
So would the Harbor Master building, Victor, be somewhere other than where it is right now?
Yes, it'll be completely shifted to the west, and the green space would be shifted toward the east, and the parking lot would be shifted around as well.
That's kind of a bummer in my opinion, but.
Well, it's a process that's been going on since 2013, 2014. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it just seems a shame to block off the water. It's
So-
more than it is, but
And there's two.
yeah. So I think it's worth bringing up. I don't think we can commit to doing anything permanent on the green space. I think temporary things that don't involve maybe trees like the sails or tables, I think those things are fine, but just some kind of permanent changes there. And I think from the tree board level, I mean, we discussing. We would like more shade at our parks, but I don't know. Any other board members have any comments on that? No, hearing none. Dan, you have anything else? I mean, we'll be looking forward to having that conversation at the council meeting on Monday.
yeah, me too. Let's see, we had, gone through the whole suggested list of species for the tree grate project. I would like to suggest that maybe we take the two lists that I think Mark sent them to me, And maybe we try and make a list, and we might have one list that would be for street trees, and one list that would be for lawn areas. And then maybe that could be provided with the application, the tree planting application. Like, how do people know what they can plant? Do they look at these lists and then they have to try and figure out of all these trees what's best for their application?
Usually the way it works is they bring an idea to us, or they don't necessarily have an idea of a species, and then the tree board discusses it and then gives them their feedback on what we will plant. Because usually for the street tree planting, it has to get approved and we discuss it. But I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to have a list that we give to people. I think that's something we were going to work on with our tree plan.
I think it'd be a nice resource for the community, even for people planning on their own private property.
Yeah, and I think that's something we were going to work with on the tree plan as we worked on that. Any comments from any of the board members on that one?
Dan,
Yeah, my understanding,
if you're willing to put that list together, why don't you do so, and then we'll discuss it at our next meeting.
Okay, and maybe Ben and I will talk about it together. And then another thing that came up as part of the tree grade project is there's a whole lot of discussion and research into the best practices planting detail for planting trees. So I wonder if we might want to have that as a resource available to residents, and then maybe that's also something that's provided to contractors that are putting in trees as part of the permitting process.
Yeah, I think, Ben, this is something you've brought up a little bit in the past too. And again, it was something I think we were going to work on in our tree plan.
I mean, we talked with Fred Guter about this and suggested this in 1998 that, that we reference and require planting for the city to be done to best management practice. Currently, that would be the ANCA 300 Part 6 2012 standard. And that's also what the Arbor Day Foundation references. They reference an older version, but in most planting standards are developed from that ANCA document, which is about 35 pages. Really simply, the easiest thing to do is reference people to treesaregood.org, which is the International Society of Arboriculture's homeowner page, and they have tree information for homeowners, and in that they've got a really well detailed diagram and explanation of how to follow that standard for lay people.
Yep. Thanks, Ben. I remember in our tree plan, we kind of hit in our draft tree plan so far, we kind of hit on that ANSI 300 about including that as an integral part of our like a policy or procedures here, and giving that out as a requirement in our street tree planting applications and et cetera. So it is something, yeah, that we've talked about. Anything else, Dana?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Margot is going to be checking with City of Petoskey. They have a street tree project that's kicking off, and I think it would be instructive for us to know what they've come up with and what trees they like. And we, of course, would be happy to reciprocate, but just, one more piece of information. And just a clarification then, do you think it's okay for me to say that the tree board supports trees in the park, or what do we want to say about that?
can I jump in here? This is,
Yeah, Sue. Yep, Sue.
yeah, I think what it would be safe to say is we look forward to hearing more about this. I don't think we want to say, I mean, we always support more trees in downtown spaces where it makes sense, but we don't want to get in the business of saying, yeah, it's time to push ahead with this as though we're not interested in having the Harbor Commission go ahead with the Harbor Master Building or whatever else. But if the question is, do we support more trees in parks downtown? Yes, absolutely, always. And do we want to work with DEA on doing this? Yeah, of course. It's been great to work through this current project with them.
Thanks, Sue. Mark?
Yeah, I'd like to bring up just one point. I think we're gonna have fun when the trees leaf out at Dorn Park and at Shea Park. Maybe blow off one or two trees. I guess I'd like to, I know we have some trees that people have given money for donations. I guess I'd like to see those removed and those trees put in those spots. I think nothing looks worse than a dead tree in a park area. And I guess I'd like to at least bring that up for consideration.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. Maybe Ben, if I think we did have a couple donations, so maybe if Ben, if you can look into that at Shea and Zorn Park, if we can plant a couple trees there to meet in reaction to what Mark said there.
Yes, some of those London plane trees we planted, I'm not sure are going to leaf out. They didn't leaf out well last year. But one of the original trees that was put in at Shea Park before the volunteer planting, I know is gone. So it'd be nice to have that removed.
Ben, your thoughts?
The first thing I want to know is why they died, and sometimes maybe it doesn't matter so much. But I look at the stuff that was in Zorn Park last year, and we had some suspect dieback. It looked a lot like maybe there was herbicide damage by the pattern of damage on the trees. And so if I could get a more accurate history, like if we're killing weeds in the turf, that would be really nice to know, and or what our watering practices are and how they're quantified. Because some places like in I believe it's Zorn are irrigated, and so if we're using city water which contains fluoride or chloride, if we're overwatering, that can be very toxic to certain plants. We have to be careful. And if we're fertilizing the grass, then I need to know about that.
Well, all right, Ben, can you for next tree board meeting, June 19th, do a little investigating to that, if possible, and then we can talk about it again then.
Okay.
Thanks, Ben. Mark, do you have anything else?
No, I don't.
Jeff, anything? And I guess I don't think we got a complete answer regarding Dana's comments about we got it from Sue about whether the tree board supports planting trees at the Marina Park. Sue said we just support planting trees. In general, we want more shade trees, but we would need to know more about the specifics and be more involved in the process and understand what the Harbor Commission DDA Council thinks about the Marina Park and specifically. So Jeff, any thoughts on that?
No, I think what Sue said was right on point.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Cece?
Yeah, I agree. Sue's correct.
Okay, thank you, Cece. Anything else from any tree board member? Anyone from the public? Nope. All right, hearing none. It's 1:18. I will declare this meeting adjourned, and then we will meet again on June 19th. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Victor. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.